mandarinas. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor. Hago queso hermano, también queso pera. Costeño en matera, pay, papel y suya. Y hasta doble crema. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor.
Everyone, welcome once again to my Dr. Zero TV and to my program Ask the Cheese Doctor. This is the English version of the program that I have earlier in the morning at 10 a.m. Pregúntale al Dr. Quesero. This program is going to be only in English for those who speaks English and other languages as well. The idea is, if you want to learn how to make cheese, you're in the right place, and you will be learning how to make cheese with me, because I really teach how to make cheese. Now I'm going to reduce the program to only half an hour, because I just make a poll into my channel, and 67% of the people told me that, and they would like the program to be reduced to half an hour. I would try to reduce it to half an hour, but I speak a lot. And well, in the last program, I just had 45 minutes. Okay, so the idea is that we reduce it so everybody has things to do. I have to take care of my grandson, and you're here, and we are going to teach you how to teach you cheese if you carry on visiting my channel. Okay, we are 17,000 subscribers already, which is I didn't think that I was going to have 16,000 people following me. I really appreciate that. Okay, I'm working on 3 videos, and the Gouda video is almost done, but I'm going to make 2 more, which is it's a cheese from Norway. A friend of mine asked me for if I could make this cheese. I find out in YouTube, and it has a lot of engagement, and it's Brunoise cheese, or soft cheese, more of the same. It's a caramelized cheese from Norway, and I'm gonna make it. And you can make it from whey, so you can have another use to whey when you make cheese, and it's very yum. I have seen the videos, and I have investigated about it, but the cheese is very good. They also call it brown cheese. So I'm going to make it soon, and I'm going to make a video about how to control the temperature of your cheese cake. Normally, when we are making cheese, we use like an old fridge. The old fridge gives you 4 degrees. Sometimes I have to have between 8 and 11 degrees, sometimes 15 degrees, depending on the type of cheese that you make. And I'm going to teach you how to do it, how to make the temperature inside your fridge, and automatically, so you don't have to do anything. Just plug it and boom. Very easy. This is just a small gear you have to buy, but that's it. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can put it in my website, in my website, so you can have access to it. My artisan cheese school, my artisan cheese course is ongoing. If you want to have it, I'm gonna put you the link here. Otherwise I put in the description. Okay, the video, so you can come to learn. If you really want to learn how to make cheese, this is and the course. For sure, you will learn how to make cheese. And as a matter of fact, you will be part of the community. Facebook is going to be a private group, and we will be interacting each other. You will be interacting with your mates, with students, and if you have any question, we will answer without any charge. The program is lifetime, so as long as you're alive, you can enjoy the program. You can watch the videos anytime you want, and there are more than 40 plus videos plus 18 cheeses that you will be able to make. Okay, And meanwhile, when you are making the cheese, you're going to interact. If you have problems making the cheese, ask us in the community. And well, the idea is to help you out. Okay. Okay. So, and with the presentation today, I'm going to teach you about. We're going to speak about lactic culture. Lactic culture is a very important issue when we make cheese. If you don't know how they behave, you will not be able to control them, to know what's happening to the cheese. And sometimes they're not working as you expect because so many several issues that I'm going to explain you now. How do they grow, and what is they work in several stages, and what is the stage when they produce. I mean, we're gonna speak about it in. Let me just put the screen, and I will answer as well all your questions. Okay. Manal is asking here. Hi, Manal. How are you? Welcome. El Pigui Costeño is from Mexico, but this program is in Spanish. Sorry, it's in English, so you're gonna have to go to my other program in Spanish. Anyway, you're welcome. If you want to interact with us, you gotta do it in English. Okay, no problem. Manal, how are you, Dr. Zero? You have problems with in your okay. Let me change it. I'm going to. I didn't want to have this problem, but anyway. Wait, let me change it. Wait. Okay, I hope I'm okay now. Yeah, I having signal. Yes, is this listening okay, Manal? Let me know with your. Send me a message if you are listening. If it is okay, I reckon it's okay because it's giving signal. I just changed the mic. I'm gonna have to get rid of. This is like something that I bought. It's like but it's not working properly. I don't know. When it was working right. If you are having, if you can tell me if you are listening now, I would appreciate it. If you're listening, okay. Okay. Anyway, let me check it away just in case. Let me check the audio. Yes, I am having signal, so everything. No problem. Okay. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna share the screen so you guys can. Sorry about it. Would you share the screen? We can know. Okay. Let's go first. Okay. Okay, let's go. When we make to control the lactic culture, is the bacteria that is into the cheese, is very important. Okay, and let's make a review, a small review of the last class. Let me first go to the. Okay, and it's very important that we control the lactic culture. We have to know how do they grow. Okay, so let's make a small review from the class that I spoke about it. When we use lactic culture, we normally name the lactic culture following the family, the species. SSP is always present with this type of bacteria and also the subspecies. So in the case of a mesophilic one, for example, Lactococcus lactis sublactis. Okay, Lactococcus lactis SSP sublactis, which is Lactococcus is the family, lactis is the subspecies, sorry, SSP is always present, and sublactis is a subspecies. Another type of bacteria would be Lactococcus lactis subtremoris, and so on. Okay, I already explained that in other presentations. Okay? So when we make cheese, the first thing that we have to use, and especially if we are making fresh, like queso fresco, like mozzarella, or any pasta fileta cheeses, or if you are making paneer, and we are using unpasteurized milk, the first thing that we have to do is to pasteurize the milk. Once we pasteurize the milk, we kill all the bacteria, good and bad, and we have to inoculate the milk again with these bacteria, which are called lactic cultures. And they normally come in like a powder, and this powder, when we use this powder, this bacteria is sleeping, is in vegetative state, is sleeping. Okay, so we have to awake bacteria. So in summarizing, we pasteurize the milk. When we pasteurize the milk, we kill the bacteria, so we have to inoculate the milk. When we use this type of cultures, which is this powder has milk in it, but also have all the bacteria in a concentrated form. So we have to allow the bacteria to reproduce, because the bacteria isn't very concentrated into the powder. We have to inoculate the milk with this bacteria, and that's the reason we have to keep the fact that the bacteria is sleeping. We have to awaken, and the only way to awaken it is creating the conditions for the bacteria to awake and to have food. That's the reason we have to heat the milk at a certain temperature, depending on the bacteria that you are using. So, and when we are putting the bacteria into the milk, what we are trying to achieve is to increase the population in terms of number of bacteria per milliliter of milk. So the more culture that we use, the more bacteria that we're going to have. Remember, the bacteria comes in a concentrated form, and the bacteria will feed from the lactose and create acidifying the milk. That's what I put here, pasteurization, which is when the main process. We inoculate the milk and we acidify the bacteria. That's that's the critical path when we make cheese. We have to pasteurize, inoculate to get acidification. This is a critical path that always happens in any type of cheese that you make. Okay? So when we in this bacteria, when we are acidifying the milk and we are heating the milk, at first stage, the bacteria doesn't produce acid, because remember, the bacteria is sleeping because it is maintained at minus 30, minus 20 degrees Celsius. So we have to allow bacteria to awake. And what does it need? What the bacteria needs to be to awake? Time. That's it. The bacteria needs time to wake, and that's the reason we wait 1 hour. We wait 1 hour not to acidify the milk. Just we heat the milk at the temperature of the bacteria. Because if we heat at a higher temperature, we're going to kill the bacteria. And if we heat at a low temperature, the bacteria is not going to wake. So we heat the milk at the bacteria at the temperature of the bacteria and reproduce and feed from the lactose. So this first stage is called the lag phase, where the bacteria is awaking. is not feeding from the lactose, it's just awakening. Imagine that you are into your bed and you wake up early in the morning. You don't stand up straight away to the toilet or to have breakfast. You just stretch your body, be a little bit lazy. Well, the same happens with the bacteria. Okay, they are a little bit lazy and it's hot for the bacteria. They're found in the right conditions, and the bacteria will. This time normally is usually 1 hour. That's the reason we allow we have to ripen the milk for 1 hour. After 1 hour, the bacteria is already awoken and is gonna try to look for food. What's the food that the bacteria use? Lactose. So the bacteria will use the lactose and will start producing acid. And at the same time, because she's finding conditions she's awoken and she's happy. There is a lot of food, there is oxygen, etc., etc. The bacteria will start to reproduce, and the speed of reproduction of the bacteria is an exponential rate. That's we call logarithmic rate. This is a term in mathematics. It's logarithmic rate, but anyway, you don't have to know all these terms. It will, and the thing is that what you have to understand is that the bacteria will reproduce very fast or very quickly. And if you put too much bacteria or too much powder into your milk, you're putting more amount of bacteria per milliliter, and the rate of acidification will be faster or will be quicker. That's the reason you have to calibrate the amount of bacteria that you put. So bacteria, coming back to the subject, the bacteria have a lot of food because there is a lot of lactose into into the core. And after 1 hour, here in this part, my milk is already ripened, and in this part is when we add the rennet. In this, after 1 hour, and we're gonna wait another hour. Let's imagine that another hour is here, for example. So in this hour, the bacteria will start to feed from the lactose and produce lactic acid, but the rate of production is not so high. That's the reason we put it here very short, right? Meanwhile, the bacteria is reproducing and feeding from the lactose. This speed will grow until this point. Then there is a moment that the lactose, not the lactose, that the oxygen and the acid production is very high. The oxygen is very low, and the acid production is very high. So, and the bacteria, because it's a paradox, because the bacteria, the acid that the bacteria produces will kill them eventually. So too much acidification into the environment, which is the coagulated milk or the curd, is dangerous for the bacteria, and eventually this acid that the bacteria is producing will kill it. And the bacteria will slower their reproduction rate. Okay, she is reproducing at a certain rate here, but then because of the environment is too aggressive for her to grow, to reproduce, and she will start to die. Of course, she will be reproducing because there's oxygen and there is still lactose, but the rate of and the acid production, the rate of acid production will be lower. And this is when we pass to the next stage, which is the stationary stage, where the bacteria will not reproduce because there is no oxygen. The minerals are also very poor, and the bacteria and the acid is too much. The bacteria can stand it, and eventually she will start dying. Okay. This phase is called stationary phase. Bacteria is not growing, it's not reproducing anymore. Okay, and after that, the bacteria will start dying at a but it doesn't matter because the bacteria will create the enzymes that will help the cheese to change in texture and to change in flavor. Also, sometimes, and this death phase can last weeks, even years. Sometimes some bacteria they produce like spores, allowing them to survive, and they can survive forever without food. But not all bacteria survive. Most of them dies during the the maturation process. Okay, and the lactose that was in the cheese. Remember when we make cheese, and after molding, we still have more or less 15% lactose. But when the cheese starts to ripen, when it get to age to mature, level of lactose will carry on lowering. Because we also losing moisture into the cheese, and the bacteria eventually will die or will form spores, allowing them to survive. And this old cheeses doesn't have any lactose, and that's the reason why the people that is in lactose intolerant cannot eat fresh cheeses because they have a lot of lactose. They have to eat aged cheeses, which have no lactose. Okay, so it's very important that you understand these phases of the reproduction. When the bacteria reproduce, the first stage is the lag phase. The bacteria needs to awake. In the exponential phase, when the bacteria start to reproduce, and this is the phase you start coagulating your milk. After the phase, we have to coagulate the milk using the rennet, and then we cut well in this phase. We cut our curd with a knife or with a lyrics. We cut it, and we have to in this phase is when we achieve the pH target. Okay, after achieving the target, this line or this stage might be 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. It depends on the rate of reproduction of the bacteria. Okay, and the stationary phase, when the bacteria start more because the environment is too aggressive, it's gonna kill them, and the death phase when the bacteria dies. Learn these phases because it's gonna be used for your cheese making process. Okay. Well, and let's go with the Q&A. As I said, today we're gonna have a short program. People is asking for the program to be short, so I'm going audience. Okay, now when I say this better than before. Okay, good. Audio is solved, so that's good. Okay, let's go with the questions. Okay. Daniel Fraga is asking here: can I make cheese with lactase? And how is the procedure to use lactase? Lactase is an enzyme that is being used for people who doesn't know how to. I mean, who is lactose intolerant. Okay, we use this type of enzyme when we have this problem. People is lactose. They need to drink the milk without lactose. So when we make cheese, we can do two things. First thing, we can buy the milk lactose free, or we can add the lactase. The lactase or lactase, I don't know. Lactase is enzyme from that this enzyme denatures the lactose in glucose and galactose. Okay, so how to use the lactase? First of all, you need to buy it in the suppliers. I don't know in the when they make they sell this type. I don't know really when where it's sold because I hardly use it or I never use it. But the thing that you have to what I have read is that you have to use the suppliers recommendation, and you have to add to the milk. Those that I don't know those. have to read the directions of the product. Leave an hour, and the lactase will denature the lactose from the milk and will decompose glucose in glucose. And then you have to follow the normal procedure to make cheese, which is cover the milk. When we use lactase, what we're doing is just dividing the lactose molecule in glucose and galactose. That's it. This is what we're doing. The process is the same, so we don't have to do much. Just carry on with our process. And of course, sometimes this type of milk are normally homogenized. So I would suggest if you are homogenized milk, use calcium chloride, 30% solution, half a milliliter per liter of milk, and you won't have any problem. Okay, that's the more or less procedure. And let's go with another one. Here, this question is in Spanish. Hi, Dr. Quesero. What is the purpose of the lactic cultures? I have seen making cheese without lactic cultures, and the cheese is really good. Would you be kind and tell me what are the advantages and disadvantages in both cases? Okay, look, when we make cheese with raw milk, we don't need lactic cultures. Why? Because all the bacteria, all the lactic cultures are implicit into the milk. They're native. They are native into the milk. So we don't need them. What happens if we are making aged cheeses like cheddar, like Parmesan, like Havarti, like any type of cheeses that has been ripened for more than 2 months, there is no problem. You can use lactic culture. You don't need lactic culture if you use raw milk. But on the other side of the coin, if you are using raw milk for fresh cheeses, that's not legal. It's illegal, and you might harm your clients, or you get sick. So you have to pasteurize your milk. If you don't pasteurize your milk, okay, for sure you will be sick eventually. You get salmonella, E. coli, and some problems. So that's the reason you have to pasteurize your milk. The advantage is pasteurize your milk, and coming back to this, you have to pasteurize your milk and inoculate the bacteria back again with the lactic culture. Why? Because we are pasteurizing the milk, we are killing the bad bacteria, all pathogens, but we are also killing the good bacteria, the culture. Therefore, we have to inoculate our milk with the good bacteria again, so they can produce the lactic acid to get our cheese the flavor that we are looking for. So if we don't do that, our cheese is going to be bland, very no flavor, and it's not going to be cheese. What gives flavor to cheese is the lactic cultures, because the lactic cultures produce the acid enzymes that will change the texture and the flavor of the cheese eventually during the aging process. So that's the reason you have to use the lactic cultures. Don't make fresh cheese with raw milk, because you're gonna get sick. You have to pasteurize your milk. I'm a true believer of this thesis. Some people, of course, if you are sure that your milk is safe, you're not gonna have any problems. Your cows are not sick. It's your problem, but eventually you might get sick. Okay, because when you are milking the cows, the flies are flying, around. They step on the droppings of the cow, and they also step on the over of the milk of the cow, and we grabbing the over with the hand or with the machine, and eventually the E. coli bacteria will pass and will contaminate the milk. So I would suggest pasteurize the milk the time if you are making fresh cheeses. Okay. In addition to that, if you pasteurize your milk, you will always get a standard product. Your shelf life will be longer. I mean, it has a lot of advantages. Okay, unless you're doing aged cheese, it doesn't matter. You can use raw milk. Okay, and this is what you are that you saying that in your country. I don't know what country you're talking about. Your cheese tastes good because, of course, the milk is raw and have all the enzymes and all the bacteria. Okay. Okay, let's go with Furgan Cam. He says, "This is my first attempt at cheddar cheese. Gavin Weaver recipe. Why my cheese has two shades visible? Why and why are these? It smells okay and nothing else." Well, when we are making cheddar, we normally use annatto or annatto as a colorant to give this orange color to the cheddar. Okay. Normally, when we are making the cheese, we prime. The cheese is wet. Okay, and for X amount of time, when we are putting it into the brine, we will get out of the brine already salted. We're going to have to dry them up. By drying them up and turning it every day, the area exposed above that is in contact with the air will become one color, and the other one will become another color. If you didn't mix your annatto accordingly, maybe you can have spots of annatto, and it might be reflected to the curd or to the rind. So it's not a biggie as long as the cheese don't smell rancid. So carry on with your aging process. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a very beautiful cheddar cheese. Okay. And Manal is saying here this question: what is the benefit of the culture in cheese? Look, Manal, the benefit of the culture in cheese is to produce lactic acid. What happened? And the bacteria into the cheese will start acidifying the milk or the curd. It will start acidifying the curd. In your case, I know mozzarella. When you make your mozzarella, your milk is fresh, and you have to start putting your milk a little bit acid, because if you have to make your cheese stretch, you have to achieve a certain band of acidity, which you know what is between 5.1 and 5.3. Okay, but not all the bacteria not also produce lactic acid. The bacteria eventually the lactic acid will kill the bacteria, but when the bacteria died, it will produce. Meanwhile, she's acidifying the milk or the curd. She's also producing enzymes that eventually will change the texture and will change the flavor of the curd or of the future cheese. So that's the reason with bacteria, to improve the flavor of our final product. If we don't use bacteria, our cheese will be very mild, flavorful. Okay, so that's the reason. And sometimes we use bacteria to produce gas and to produce holes in the cheese. So when we Swiss, like raclette, not raclette, like raclette or Emmental. Okay, we are making so these cheeses have holes inside, but the holes into the whole of the cheese are produced by gas production, and we have to. And the bacteria doesn't produce gas. The cheese doesn't produce gas by itself. We have to allow the bacteria to be fermented cheese or to ferment the curd, and fermentation will produce the gas that will make eventually will make balls into the cheese. And if we don't use this bacteria, this gas producing bacteria, we won't have holes into the cheese. One bacterial gas is the Propionic shermani. Okay, so we have, if we holes, we inoculate beside the bacteria, beside the lactic culture, we put the Propionic shermani, which is the bacteria that only produce gas. This bacteria called Propionic shermani, they feed from the lactic from the acid produced by the lactic culture. Okay, in other words, the Propionic shermani, which is a bacteria that only produces gas, they feed from the lactic acid into the cheese and produce the gas. They will produce an acid called propionic acid. This propionic acid, in other words, so you can understand, the bacteria, the lactic culture, when we make the cheese, we have to put the lactic cultures and the Sherman, the two types of bacteria. The lactic culture will produce lactic acid, and the gas producing bacteria will feed from the lactic acid and produce another acid that is called propionic acid. This propionic acid, with time and temperature, will ferment, and this fermentation will produce the gas that we need to make the holes. This is how it works. Okay, and that's the reason why we use the culture. We can use it in different as we live. Remember, I told you in last class how to make your own mix of lactic culture. Well, if you make it with holes, you have to add certain type of bacteria. Okay, but this is you as a cheese maker. You decide the type of bacteria to use. You don't have to follow a recipe. If you're a real cheese maker, you are allowed to do. I mean, you can do that. If you learn more, I suggest take my cheese course with the videos. It's going to be in 5 languages, and you will learn for sure how to make cheese. And as a matter of fact, I will help you. And you're going to be part of a private group, and we'll be advising you the time. You will be able to learn not only mozzarella, you will be able to learn how to make any type of cheese. Okay? Because we'll teach you what happens to the cheese and how to overcome any problem you might have. Okay, guys. I reckon this is all for today. As I said, today the program is going to be shorter. I reduced it to half an hour. We are almost in 38 minutes. The idea is that we have things to do, and the idea is not to be so boring. The program not to be so boring. There's another question from you. Let's see. Before we leave, what is the content in cheese? What is the content in cheese that gave us the flavor, the fat? Imagine, before we leave, imagine change of texture is proteolysis. Change of flavor is lipolysis. So proteolysis means texture. Lipolysis means with fat. What changes the flavor of the cheese is the lipolysis process into the cheese. If you want to go deeper, take my cheese course, and for sure you will learn all these terms because I make special emphasis in this. As a matter of fact, you will be able to interact with us. Okay. I really appreciate your support. We are 17,000 souls making cheese and in cheese lovers, so I really appreciate that. And see you next week. And next week I'm gonna teach you how to follow a program for safety. Next week we're gonna talk about food safety. The program is gonna be, as I said, a little bit. We're gonna spend less time with the program. It's gonna be a little bit short. Okay. See you next week. And as I always say, eat cheese because life without cheese is like a love without eggs. See you next week, okay? Bye bye.
Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesos colombianos y venezolanos, todo hecho en tu casa. Con sabor zuliano y calor humano. Los quesos en casa tienen vitaminas, rápidos de hacer. En cualquier cocina, tan fácil como pelar mandarinas. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor quesero te enseña con sabor. Hago queso hermano, también queso pera. Costeño, matera, paipa, pan y zulia. Y hasta doble crema. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son.